At the time, I didn't want to get the vaccine because of all of the conspiracy theories that I was reading about. And I kept thinking about, what happened in years of old. We as a people, black people, were experimented on. I started hearing things about, if you get the vaccination, then what's going to happen? They're going to put an identifying chip inside of you, and I'm like, okay, I don't think I want to do that. And then I started thinking about, well, how could they possibly do that?
I be around a lot of people who catch corona and they never catch it. So I think it's just a hoax,
I'm not gonna say I'm against it, but me personally, I'm not taking it because I don't trust it. We've been taking vaccines since we were babies, right? But we got cancer out there, AIDS out there. Why haven't they found cures or vaccines for that? But this thing just came out last year. How come they found a vaccine so early? And then the next thing, a lady that helped to make the vaccine, she don't want to take it, so why should I take it?
There's not enough information on it for me to to get it, so I just left it alone.
Okay, and you don't know anybody that got it, they got the vaccine? Do you know anybody?
Not yet. I don't know. They need to do more research about it before they start putting vaccines into people.
I understand why people are not running in line to get the vaccine. I was actually hesitant myself for a long time. I wanted to protect myself, but I wasn't convinced if the vaccine would cause me more harm than good, so I stalled. So I get it. They talked about this being a new vaccine, particularly the mRNA vaccines, and they talked about this warp speed vaccine. I didn't want to have anything to do with that. But once I took the time to look into the information, to speak to my own healthcare providers, I realized that it wasn't actually a new vaccine. mRNA had been around for decades, actually, and it was actually discovered right here in Philly from scientists at the University of Pennsylvania.
I want people to learn that for themselves as well. Just because there's so much rigor that is put into a lot of these trials being designed, and I can only speak for the United States of America, right? I can't speak for other countries, but there's so much put into these trials that it really does allow for us to have extra, comfort that we are not being tested on. A lot of things have to be stated up front so that you know what you're getting involved in. They have everyone who's participating to read an informed consent, and that really lays out what the risks are, what the benefits possibly could be. The way I decided to go about it was to actually get involved myself. So that's really why I joined the clinical trial. I did this, for one, I knew it would push me up in the line to get the vaccine, but for two, to help my people around me and in my community see what it looks like to participate in a clinical trial and also to receive the vaccine. I figured there was going to be no better way for me to do this than for me to get involved directly.
I want people to feel my pain. I want people to understand what it's like to be in my shoes and go through what I went through and know that they don't have to go through that. We didn't even have the vaccine then, but you don't have to go through that. Why put yourself through that? I mean, just imagine going into the hospital, being able to walk, and coming out and not being able to walk. Being so weak from being on a ventilator. I was on the ventilator for 2 weeks and sedated. I don't remember anything. I wouldn't want anybody to go through that. I wouldn't wish what I went through on my worst enemy.
Yeah, I would speak from a personal perspective first. It was quite devastating in the sense that on Christmas Day, I lost my younger brother to COVID. Over a period of 10 days after having been infected with the virus, he was gone on Christmas Day. Others in my family also were in infected by the virus, but thank God none succumbed to it. The COVID, we were just not able to visit, nor were we able to touch bases with everyone during this time. And so my major concern was, how are the seniors doing in the church? You know, it still is challenging. It was challenging then, and it's challenging now, because there are some people who just refuse to get the vaccine and going on their way, their merry way, and we just don't know exactly where we're headed, given what's coming up now with this new strain. We hosted a vaccination center here, clinic here. I personally went out from 52nd Street and Spruce down to Market Street back, and I was flabbergasted by those who refused to get the vaccine based on the feedback I got. And I just came to the conclusion that most of it was misinformation.
We really need to be careful of where we're getting our information from, making sure that we're speaking to trusted healthcare providers, talking to your own doctor, talking to your own community pharmacist, and making sure that you're having those real conversations where you can ask questions. There are times where you may read something online and you may have a question about it, but you can't ask the question to follow up to make sure that it even makes sense to you. So make sure you're having real life conversations with people you trust in order to get the COVID vaccine information that you need.
We believe that God is miraculous and beyond understanding. God can absolutely use vaccines, and who is to say that he's not using the vaccines miraculously to bring healing to a pandemic that literally took the lives of millions of persons all over the world, 600,000 of them here in the United States that had now been perhaps aborted because of the development of the vaccines and the faithful administration of the vaccines.
People who have had COVID or people who are at low risk of the disease being harmful to them should definitely still get the vaccine. I know we're all tired of having to wear masks on SEPTA and in the doctor's offices and the hospitals, and we can get there. We can get these masks off if we get more people vaccinated.
After getting out the hospital and talking to my daughter, who is a respiratory care therapist, and she said, Mommy, as soon as you're out of the protective stage, then you need to get the vaccination. I didn't even debate it with her. And I'm hearing all these statistics about how people are getting the first vaccination but not getting the second one, and thinking that since they got the first that they're protected, but they're not, because they need both. So I'm the first to encourage anybody, get your vaccination. It is so important.